Good afternoon, welcome to VANIK-IAS. We will discuss current affairs of 6th December and first topic is Iran's morality police disbanded amid street protest. What is the issue? The issue is what happened in Iran. A woman is killed because he protested against hijab, right? So whether it is about the freedom or it is about the religious obligation. Iran's public prosecutor said recently that the country's raided morality police, the same force whose in his custody 22-year-old Mahsa Amini died in December, has been disbanded. Right. If the announcement is followed through, there was no confirmation from the Interior Ministry. According to the state media, and the public prosecutor was not responsible for the overseeing of the force. It would signal an extraordinary concession from the Iranian regime to the women who have over the past couple of months led most powerful and sustained street protests since Islamic Revolution 1978 and 1979. Right. Before 1979, the people of Iran was living a life like the modern women of Western civilization. But after the Islamic Revolution, again the religious constraints that developed in Iran. Okay, that is particular dress code, especially the hijab, the burqa, all these things in religious practices that developed after the Iranian Revolution of religious revivalism of 1978. Okay. Okay. 1978. According to the Attorney General Mohammad Jafar Montejari, the morality police was abolished by the same authorities who installed it. Both Parliament and the judiciary are working on the issue. Right. According to the Attorney General, that morality police, they are also in, because there is huge protest after the death of Miss Mahsa Amini. Right. Huge protest broke out in Iran, and now the judiciary and the Parliament both are working to solve the issue of morality police and stop such religious traditions, to enforce such religious traditions. Right. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the elected government. But the elected government has a say in the police, that is under hijab. That's why the government has denied that Amini was assaulted and has accused the United States and Israel orchestrating the popular protest across the country. Right. Yes. The answer to the Amini was not assaulted. He was, after his custodian death, obviously there is there will be various claims that he died because of morality police, because of assaulted by the morality police, and Iran has accused the West because there is a rivalry between USA and Iran. Right, both countries there is rivalry, and USA and obviously Israel also. Israel is the ally of USA, and obviously Saudi Arabia is ally of USA, and they are against Iran. Right, and Iranian government representatives seem to be reinforcing these laws. Right, state representatives seems to be reinstating such type of laws, means such type of the moral policing will be, that is enforced by the state representatives. Okay. Next, the state representative, the government is generally such type of morality, this is propagated by the such type of activities are usually propagated by the religious leaders. Morality is something that is not mandatory, that is lessons to teach the people, and if those people who think this is right, they will accept it. Religious freedom, religious ethics or religious ethics should be propagated by the religious leaders only, and that should not be mandatory. Anybody who wishes to join it or wishes to obey those things, they will obey, and those who do not wish to obey those things, They will not obey, as simple as that. But here the state representatives, the government authorities, they are enforcing the religious code. That is the issue. That is why they are condemned. Okay. If you observe the dressing pattern, the lifestyle of Iranian women before 1970 and after 1970, there is huge difference between that, right? The today, because before 1970, in case of Iran, women were wearing the dresses and the lifestyles were like the Western civilization. They are wearing Western dresses and they are enjoying complete freedom. At least much more freedom than it is today. But after the Iranian Revolution, everything has changed. So now there is a protest to talk about the freedom, that everybody has a choice to at least wear and eat whatever they want. Next. Iran has a long history of policing and hijab. During the reign of Reza Shah Pahlavi 1936, the hijab was actually banned in an effort to modernize the country, right? Reza Shah, in 1936, hijab was banned to effort to modernize the country. The police would then remove the hijab from the heads of the women wearing in the public. This situation was turned its head after the revolution, when the conservative forces aligned with Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini deposed Muhammad Reza Pahlavi, son of Reza Shah, and proclaimed the Islamic Republic. Right. So based on Islamic values, and they have started a revolution, and Khamenei came to power and declared it Islamic Republic. But before the Islamic Republic, to modernize themselves in 1936, Reza Shah has banned the hijab. Right. In India also, various big issue regarding hijab has started, and the High Court has given its verdict also. Right. Everybody is free to wear hijab. There is no strict regulation that it is banned, but it was just a public opinion that they should be banned in at least the educational institutions. So it is a controversial issue. While wearing the hijab was made mandatory, a force was constituted to enforce the rules on morality and public appearance of women only in the 1990s. After the war broke out with Saddam Hussein's Iraq, the regime felt the need to centralize and culture. Then another country will enforce about the liberalized thought, that is generally the Western civilization or liberalism, or everybody should have the freedom to wear whatever they wear. So basically Khamenei has come to power by enforcing the Islamic revolution. So they observe the religious code of conduct, and by which they have concentrated the power. So especially by this political power, to get this political power, religious revivalism become the tool by which they come to power, especially Khamenei. Okay. Over the years, the strictness with which morality rules have been enforced has varied in accordance with the nature of the regime in the country's dual theocratic democratic political system. Liberal leaders such as former President Hassan Rouhani has made references personal freedoms and dignity following the reported excesses by the force. So the previous president, that is Hassan Rouhani, he has also pointed about the personal freedoms of people regarding the dignity, personal freedoms. Okay. Morality functions not only the enforcement of hijab but also the implementation of the other rules on the public appearance. Implementation of other rules on the public appearance and conduct according to the Iranian authorities. Interpretation of the Sharia are also responsibility of the people, of the police. Yes. So this is the policing. What they basically do? The implementation of other rules in public appearance, how will appear at the public, and the conduct according to the Iranian authorities. Interpretation of Sharia will be also done by the morality police. Also responsibility of the police, right? Sharia will be implemented by the police. In 2001, Iran's Ministry of Culture and Islamic Guidance issued a template for suitable haircuts for men. Yes, haircuts in order to halt Western influence on the culture, and morality police were tasked with the enforcement of the salons. Even after the haircut, suitable haircuts for men, how men should cut their hair, that will be also decided by the state. Such type of activities are started in Iran, and in 2010 that was enforced by Ministry of Culture by the it is started by Ministry of Culture and enforced by the morality police. In September 2022, United States government said it would be imposing sanctions on Iran's morality police and senior security officials who have engaged in serious human rights abuses. It's serious human rights abuses. Human right that everybody has freedom of to wear some particular type of dress, freedom to eat, freedom regarding haircut, all these things, basic things. Everybody should have freedom, which is not affecting the others. So United Nations government has said that United States government, USA government has said that it will impose sanctions on India's morality police, right? Iran's authorities have refused to concede any of the demands on the ongoing protest and have instead cracked down heavily on the protesters. So they have cracked down heavily on the protesters. They have not bent down Iran authorities. They have protested against, and they have cracked down heavily on the protesters. That means they have tortured the protesters who are protesting instead of solving their issues by taking into their considerations. In November 2022, Revolutionary Court in Tehran sentenced an individual to death for setting of fire to a government building and waging war against God. So a Revolutionary Court in Tehran sentenced an individual. Why? For setting fire to a government building and for waging war against God. In Iran, Human Rights reported at least 20 other protesters who were also facing the charges that are punishment by death. So see, if you are breaking the government, you are setting fire the government building, and that is not wage against the God. That is wage against the government, not against the God. But everything they are linking to God, and they are punishing the people, and that is violation of human rights, and that is the punishment is death punishment, right? Capital punishment, and capital punishment is abolished in capital punishment is abolished in 75% of the world's country, and still these are highly punished by the Iranian governments. What a possible disbandment of the force would mean was not immediately clear. Some protesters expressed skepticism, saying that statement was a sham and only a precursor to further violence by the state, right? Okay. So they have not believed whether the state government is really going to implement the recommendations or reduce the forces or not, but it may be happen because there is huge protest throughout the because there is also democracy. They have the right to protest, and the whole world is also supporting the Iranian women with respect to it, and there is public burning of burqas and the hijabs. Why the Reserve Bank of India? Next is e-rupee. Next issue is about e-rupee. Why the Reserve Bank of India introduced e-rupee? The Reserve Bank of India recently launched digital rupee on a pilot basis. The digital currency will be offered by a select group of public and private banks. Select group of public and private banks, they will offer digital rupee, right, which can be used for both person to person and person to merchant transactions. They can be used for both person to person and person to merchant transactions. What is digital rupee? Digital rupee or e-rupee is a central bank digital currency issued by the RBI. It's a digital currency, right, which cannot be, especially the speciality is that of digital currency is that cannot be counterfeited. One of the major advantage of e-rupee is that it cannot be counterfeited. That means the fake notes, the issue of fake notes that exist in our economy, that will reduce. And also another thing is that usually that will promote digital transaction, and e-rupee will bring transparency, and all these things that will increase the digital, good boost to digital India. It is primary to the physical cash that you hold in your wallet, except that the e-rupee is held electronically in a digital wallet overseen by RBI. So now this digital wallet will be overseen by the RBI, not by a particular wallet, it will be by the RBI. The digital rupee is recognized as a legal tender by RBI and thus has to be accepted by everyone in the country as a medium of exchange. Like RBI, thus digital rupee will be mandatorily, everyone will accept that, because that is mandated by the RBI. What money will be accepted and what will not be accepted, that all things should be determined by the RBI, and this is e-rupee is also mandated by RBI. So everybody must receive it. They cannot deny it, right? It is, however, different from deposits that people hold in the bank. Unlike deposits that are paid interest, the digital rupee in your wallet are not paid any interest by the central bank. The digital rupee in your wallet are not paid any interest by the central bank. By digital rupee you will not get any interest, but by other currencies you will pay interest. For example, you are saving something in bank, you will get interest for that. You will not get interest for this digital rupee. Deposits held in banks can be converted into digital rupees and vice versa. Converted into digital rupee and vice versa. Is there a need for digital rupee? RBI believes that digital rupee will make the rupee more attractive as a currency to users when compared to cryptocurrencies. Right, as compared to cryptocurrencies, now e-rupee will be into digital rupee, that is substitute, we can say that is like a substitute of cryptocurrency. The problem with cryptocurrency is that there is no regulating authority. It is based on blockchain technology and there is no regulating authority. If any problem happens with your cryptocurrency transactions, there is nobody to solve your issue. It is highly decentralized technology, and there is no central authority, but it is highly secure, right? Highly secure, highly unpredictable as well, highly volatile. At any time you may gain a huge amount of money, also you may get a huge amount of loss at a particular instant of time. Then cryptocurrency have been viewed by many investors as alternatives to fiat currencies. Alternative to fiat currencies. Fiat currency means, for example, your check, that is a fiat currency, which progressively lost value over the time due to debasement by the central banks. Fiat currency means what is the offline currency we are having, right? The better alternative. Since such trend could threaten their sovereignty, central banks have been trying to come up with their own digital currencies, right? Central bank trying to come up with their own digital currency instead of cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency is not regulated by anyone, so we will make substitute of cryptocurrency and people will invest in cryptocurrency. The RBI also believes that the digital rupee will be easier and more economical to produce when compared to physical cash notes. Just a second. ठीक है बंद हो गया चलते हो बंद हो गया ना just okay. The RBI also believes that digital rupee will be easier and more economical to produce when compared to physical cash notes. When compared to physical cash notes, it will be more economical to produce. More importantly, transactions carried out using digital rupee in contrast to physical transactions are more easily traceable by authorities. Easily traceable by authorities, right? The problem with cryptocurrency is that it is anonymity. Anonymity means nobody will know who is transacted to whom, right? and that create a problem, may create a money laundering and terror financing. That is the biggest problem with cryptocurrency. So in case of digital currency, we don't have that problem. In case of digital currency, RBI can track the transactions. They can know who has sent money to whom. That's why it is legal. What are the risks? The introduction of central bank digital currency internationally worried. Currencies internationally has worried many who believe that it could disrupt the banking system, because it is a new type of system that is developed. It could disturb the banking system. When interest rates offered by the banks are low, people may be more prone to converting their bank deposits into digital currencies, since they have not lost out much in the way interest income by making the shift. Such an event could cause the cash holdings of banks to drop and hinder bank capacity to create loans. So as digital currency will see why we are not investing in cryptocurrency, because we know that it is highly volatile. Because we know that there is cryptocurrency there is no central authority. But if many people will shift it to digital currency, the problem will be that they will get more return by digital currency. So they will stop saving. If they will stop saving, then what is the problem? Problem will be the loans. The problem, if somebody is not saving, how will get the loans? If will not get loan, how economy will get boom? How investment will occur in the economy? So these are the problems. These are the risks that associated with the digital currency. The ability of banks to create loans is influenced by amount of cash they hold in their vaults. This is because the cash position of a bank determines its ability to expand its loan book while keeping the risk of bank run under the control. Yes. So what is the ability? How the bank sustains? It takes money, some saving from some certain people and send it to give them as loans and get the interest, and the bank survives in this way. The digital rupee could also play a crucial role in India's transition towards cashless society. India's transition towards cashless society. We are now the topmost country having maximum digital transactions, right? Rise in the use of digital rupee could eventually free banks from having to maintain sufficient cash deposit before they expand their loan books. So that may create an issue regarding the savings of the banks. This could happen. The digital rupee deposits turn out to be considered equivalent to other forms of virtual money, such as deposits created by the initially as the loans by banks. In this case, banks will freed from the risk of bank runs, which have traditionally served as a check in the unstrained expansion of the loan books. So bank run will not happen. That means suddenly there will not be bank run, or people will bank run means, the meaning of bank run is that when people take out their money from the banks that is bank run, and bank don't have no money to give us loan. What do the critics say? Critics are not so enthused by the idea of a digital rupee. They point to the power that digital currencies give central banks to supervise economic activity. Digital currency gives central banks, okay, and believe that this could act as a deterrent to the economic growth if legitimate economic activities are deemed illegal by the governments. Okay. This could act as a deterrent to economic growth if legitimate economic activities are deemed illegal by the government, because government is not giving permission to cryptocurrency, right? So if they induce real economic growth, many people get benefited from the cryptocurrency. Now that will hamper the real economic growth. So instead of real economic growth, if we are going towards virtual currencies, then they may affect the investment health of the economy. The future of the central bank digital currency is as an alternative to private cryptocurrencies may also be overblown. The private cryptocurrencies have found demand among the certain investors, not simply because they are digital, Rather, they are thought to be better stores of value, exhibiting more stable purchasing power than the fiat currencies. So why private cryptocurrencies are found demand? Why cryptocurrencies are demand? Because they are generating more income as compared to the saving, or compared to in saving, if you are saving the money. That is why that is why the critics are worried about the digital currencies. And if they will say people will transition, they will convert their money or asset to digital currency, the bank will have no money to lend. What is the effect of oil price cap ban? Western governments have agreed to cap the price of oil, Russia's oil exports, in an attempt to limit the fossil fuel earnings that support Russia's budget, its military and invasion in Ukraine. Russia's earning. So they have given a ban on, agreed to cap the price of Russian oil. How much maximum price you can give to Russia for purchase of oil? The cap is set to take effect 5th December 2022. The same day, European Union will impose a boycott on most Russian oil. So European Union will impose a boycott on most Russian oil. Its crude that is shipped by the sea. The European Union reached a deal for $60 per barrel threshold Friday, and the group of 7 nations and Australia signed off the deal later in the day. Maximum they will give $6 per barrel. They have signed a deal. Nobody will give more than $6 per barrel. So that's why that will create an economic loss to the Russia. The twin measures could have an uncertain effect on the price of oil, as worries over lost supply through the boycott compete with fears about the lower demand, the slowing global economy. So this is a problem. If that will be capped, then what will happen? That will also hamper the economic growth of the whole world, because that is uncertain effect, because we don't know what will happen. If price cap is there, then obviously there may be some constraints regarding the supply and demand, and that will create a problem in the whole world economy. Maybe Russia will not produce so much its money, right? Or the purchase will be, so for example, there will be whenever the price is fixed, that always create a problem in demand and supply. So in case of Russia also same thing will happen. As the economic health of world economy is not good, so fixing a particular thing will obviously economy, and we don't know what will happen. The world is already in an uncertain stage after the COVID in post pandemic era. The economic conditions, the average growth is less than, it is in negative in case of most of the countries like Russia and other countries. So we cannot trust what will going to happen, what will happen by these measures by the European Union. How could oil keep flowing in the global economy? Universal enforcement of insurance ban imposed by European Union and UK in earlier rounds of sanctions could take much Russian crude off the market, that oil prices would spike. Western economies would suffer. The Russia should see increased earnings from whatever oil it can ship in defiance of the embargo. Right? They will get some money. Russia will get some money. Okay, Russia, world's number 2 oil producer, has already rerouted its supply to India, China and other Asian countries. Discounted price after the Western customers shunted its even before EU ban. So Russia is already giving a discounted price to get the money. If they are making some discount, how it will affect the Russia? It will affect the whole world, right? What effect would different cap levels have? According to some experts, so $60 cap will not have much impact on Russia's finances. That will almost go unnoticed, because it would be near where Russian oil is already selling, because already it is selling at that price of $60. Russia Urals blend sales at significant discount to international benchmark Brent and fell below $60 for the first time in months this week on the fears to reduce demand from the China due to outbreaks of COVID-19. So it itself has decreased the price of the it has declined the price of the Russian oil already. Often the cap is not satisfying number, but it could prevent the Kremlin from profiting if oil prices suddenly shoot higher and the cap bites. That is the problem. If at certain particular instant of time, if oil prices increases, Russia will suffer because it cannot increase the price of oil. The cap is not satisfying number. Yes, the cap might be lowered over the time if West want to increase the presence on Russian. The problem is West have already spent a lot of months waiting for the measure to dent Russia oil profits. Right? They have already spent a lot of months. Right? Already West is waiting since lost a lot of time. Why they are thinking that the price will reduce and they will get the Russia will suffer. But actually it is not going to happen because they have already done it, right? Next. If the cap has been as low as $50, it would cut into Russia's earnings and make it impossible for Russia to balance its state budget, with Russia believed to require around 60 to 70 per dollar barrel to do that. It is called as fiscal break-even. Fiscal break-even means, so Russia, it requires at $60 per barrel or $70 per barrel, because it also have to manage its state finances, which is already Russia has already, the growth was less than 2%. At present it is less than even zero. That is negative. That is going a negative GDP growth in Russia because of the Russia and Ukraine war. So in this situation, this cap will, although it will not much impact Russia, but if that will be make 50 barrel per dollar, that will affect the Russia. It will affect the Russia. Okay, because suddenly they cannot increase the price. However, $50 cap would still have been above Russia's cost of production. Okay, according to the sanctions, experts are wrangling over the where to set the cap, highlighted the disagreement on which goal to pursue, hurting Russia's finances or taming the inflation, with the US coming down to the sides of controlling the price increases. Then what is the Russia and other countries won't go along? Russia has said that it will not observe a cap and will halt deliveries to the countries that do. Right? Russia will say that I will not deliver at all. I will not sell my money. The same problem that happened in oil crisis 1973, the oil crisis which happened shook the whole world economy. Maybe that problem will be created if Russia will not give its oil to a whole world economy. The whole world economy will crash. Right? The world economic crisis will develop. Right? And the impact will be very further. That will increase for long decades, because already because of the COVID issue there is already global slowdown. Earlier it was global slowdown. In 2008 we have financial crisis. Then 2005 there is Greek financial crisis. Then COVID pandemic came, and now Russia-Ukraine war. And if further they decline so they have already almost destabilized the whole world economy. If further they are doing such type of things and Russia stops supplying oil to these European economies, what will happen? The whole world will go in economic crisis, and maybe the whole world will come low, and that will be very dangerous for the whole world economy, right? So unless and until they do such type of steps, that will be detrimental to the whole world economy and the developed countries, especially the developed countries like US and European Union. The greater distances involved in shipping oil to Asia means of 4 times more tanker capacity is needed. And not everyone will take the Russian insurance. What about US embargo? Russia producers likely won't be able to reroute all their oil from Europe, formerly their biggest customer, and some will likely lose the global market, at least at first. Analysts say that US-EU embargo and cap together could result in a noticeable tightening on the oil market by 2023. And expect the price of international benchmark Brent could come back to $95 per barrel in coming weeks. Recently Brent slid to 85 per barrel. The biggest impact from EU embargo may not come immediate, but on February 5, when Europe additional ban on refinery products made from oil such as diesel fuel come into effect. So from February 5, another issue is resurfacing. That is, European Union will ban the refinery products made from oil from Russia, and that will impact the whole economy more significantly, more dangerously than it is today. Europe still has many cars that run on diesel, right? The fuel also used for the truck transport to get the huge range of goods to the consumers and the raw agricultural machinery. To those, higher cost will spread throughout the economy, and that will lead to unsustainable inflation will be witnessed in the developed country economies if Russia do not supply oil, because even today many of the vehicles are run by the diesel, and that they will suffer. That will create social unrest also. If the prices of goods will increase, then obviously social unrest and protest will go on in the country, in every country. Okay. Okay. Baguette makes UNESCO intangible cultural heritage list. Baguette, the staple French bread, was inscribed in the UN list of intangible cultural heritage recently. UNESCO, the international body in promoting peace and cooperation among the nations through education, art, science and culture, recognize the artisanal know-how and culture of baguette bread as a world cultural heritage. What is baguette bread? The baguette is just long, thin loaf made of flour, water, salt and yeast, and is consumed as a staple in France. It is made up of water, salt and yeast. It's a bread that is consumed staple in France. Everybody eats France. Some believe that it was invented in by August Jahn, a baker and an entrepreneur from Vienna in 1939, who introduced the world to the taste of crusty bread with softer insides using steam oven, and gained its official name in 1920. That is baguette bread of UNESCO, that is declared as UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage. The history of the bread is uncertain, but some also believe that Napoleon Bonaparte, the French military leader, ordered the thin sticks of bread for consumption by his soldiers, as they could be carried from one place to another place more conveniently. So they are used in the war also, Second World War also. It is in First World War also, and during the war period. Sorry, not First and Second World War, during the French Revolution. Okay, why did France nominate in UN list? In March 2021, France nominated the baguette as its candidate for the reconsideration within the UN Intangible Cultural Heritage List (ISICH). It drew attention to the steady decline in the number of bakeries in the country, as around 20,000 have closed down since 1970. The nomination by French Culture Ministry stated that in 1970 there was 55,000 artisanal bakeries, one for every 790 residents, compared to 35,000 today, one for every 2,000. One for every 2,000 there is, often in the favor of baguettes produced industrially. So it is said that yes, steady decline. So there is steady decline in the number of the bakeries. Bakeries are declining in France. That is why it is France has advocated for it. Okay. What is intangible heritage, cultural heritage according to UNESCO? UNESCO defines intangible as expressions that have been passed from one generation to another. Intangible means anything that has passed from one generation to another, that we call as intangible, have evolved in response to their environments and contribute giving sense of identity to and continuity. Okay. What is India's intangible cultural symbols in UNESCO list? India nominated Garba, the traditional dance originated from state of Gujarat, Garba dance. Garba dance, okay, state of Gujarat from inscriptions on UNESCO intangible heritage list. The elements which have been in the representative or list of Indian cultural heritage are that Kolkata's Durga Puja in 2021 it was declared, then Kumbh Mela 2017, Navroz 2016, Yoga, traditional brass and copper craft of utensil making among the coppersmiths of Punjab, then Sankirtana, a ritual musical performance of Manipur, and Buddhist chanting of Ladakh. These are declared as intangible heritage that is transmitted from one generation to another generation by the people, right, in the United Nations. Okay. India assumes the presidency of two global bodies, UNESCO and G20. December of 2022 began with India's assuming presidency of G20 and UNESCO, and the second, that is United Nations Security Council. India is a temporary member. India said that it is while the G20 presidency is driven by the vision of the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, right? The world is one family. This presidency of the United Nations Security Council seeks to prioritize countering the terrorism and reforms multilateralism. Counter the terrorism and reform multilateralism. Multilateralism means multiple close interaction of one particular country with all the countries. Earlier the world was divided between different countries, and world is only particular group of people who are working with USA, another group is working with the China. Now this is like with the USSR. Now it is multilateral. That means each country are interacting with different countries of different ideologies based on economic and strategical interest. So this is to reform multilateralism and prioritize countering the terrorism, because terrorism is one of the biggest problem of the world at present. So both these positions are rotating, and that will come in all numbers of the bodies by turn. What are the roles and powers of UNSC and president nation? Some of the significant roles of UNSC broadly include maintaining international peace in accordance with the principle and purposes of United Nations, and to determine the existence of threat to the peace and act of aggression recommended by the action to be taken. The Council President, according to UNSC handbook, exercises a vast range of powers. The President, Council President, vast range of powers, holding meetings of UNSC, approving provisional agendas, all these things can be done. Other crucial decisions can be taken by the Council President. The first working day of the Presidency, Council President hold informal breakfast to discuss the draft program, which is attended by the permanent representatives of all the Council members, that is the China and the P5 countries, right? The program of work, which will simpler in terms, is a calendar of priorities which the President nation would work towards during the tenure, is adopted soon after the breakfast. So the President, there is various responsibility that lies with the President. They discuss the global issues and try to bring in the new resolutions, and the permanent members are also present there. So this is all about the India's roles and G20 and presidency, and all about today's lecture. And like and share this video and subscribe to VANIK-IAS. Thank you.